just being in an atmosphere like that before, it's a lot of emotions running high. Um, especially when you're at the free throw line. They say it's the easiest shot in the game, so you don't want to miss the easiest shot in the game. So I know there's a lot of emotions going through his head. He just had to take his time, be calm, and sink all three. And figure out how to get a defensive stop, which they wasn't able to do, but it was very close. So I know a lot of emotions was running high. A lot of emotions was involved in that game. I felt pretty good just because knowing, being a part of the Heat organization, knowing the Heat culture. When the back's against the wall, that's when we're at our best. And they kind of dug themselves for a hole. Letting Boston come back and win 3 games straight, but they was able to prevail and figure out how to put it all together. And the good thing about that Game 6 loss is, like, even though Jimmy didn't play that well, they did everything they needed to do to win that game, and by say luck or a bad miss, something going right for the Celtics, that's how they was able to win that game. So even with that being said, you still have a different sense going into Game 7. Like, we know we can win this Game 7. We basically beat ourselves in Game 6. It's definitely better just because of the fact that you keep playing. With them being able to, like Denver, they got a sweep early and they've been probably sitting at home for almost a week now, trying to figure out what days to practice, how much time to get they guys a rest period. So it's always a different vibe. So for me as a former player, I didn't really like sweeps as much just because you just get to sit around and have to wait for the next opponent. So I think it's better that they went to get 7 games. They still got that camaraderie. They still got that focus. They still know what's at hand to take care of everything. I'm not very much surprised at all. Like with Caleb, the thing about him, he's their 3-and-D guy, and now with Tyler Hero being hurt, he's had to take a little bit more of the offensive role, and he's showing that he's been ready for that moment and he's prepared for that moment. So I'm not really too shocked at that. I'm just happy for him. I know what type of work he put in. I know how hard he works and what this means to him. So it's just happy to see him and his hard work come full front. It's tough. I did say that, but when you have moments like that, you got to think about what Jimmy did through the whole season, through the playoffs and the crunch time of the game, and things like that. So when it comes to actually being the MVP, Jimmy did everything, and I think that what kind of prevails it. He's a stat sheet stuffer. With Caleb, he's a scorer, he's a shooter, and he's also a great defender. And a lot of the things that he probably does is not on the stat sheet. So that's probably why he doesn't get that Finals MVP like some people say he should. All time great Miami players. You got Zoe, Shaq, Bron, D Wade, Tim Hardaway, Glenn Rice, Eddie Jones. I mean, there's a lot of players up there. So um, with him winning this championship, he will be top 5, just because you bring a championship to an organization like that, that's known for winning championships, that's had some of the best players ever to come through there and win championships. He'll go right up there with them. That's what it is. It's an underdog mentality. It's never letting anybody think they can get the best of you. Preying on people's weaknesses, and just staying together and sacrificing for the person next to you. And if you see the Heat, that's what we all have been about. That's what this team's about: sacrificing for the man next to him, and not just depending on one person. Everybody's stepping up, everybody's contributing, everybody's helping on both ends of the floor. You see the bench up and cheering. You just see a lot of camaraderie, and you're working as a family and being as a family, and that's what the Heat culture is about. I could probably have a pretty good idea of what it is. It's just when I was there, we always had a highlight video, a high video before every round, and it just shows what you did throughout the season to get to this moment. And don't forget about the good times. Don't forget about the bad times. But now it's a new time. It's a new season, new mentality. So you 4 games away from your goal. So I'm sure Spo has something up there with the past Heat championships and what the mentality means and what Heat culture just really means, and go out there and embrace it. And I'm pretty sure that's what the video is about, embracing the Heat culture. Just how well they're playing together. Everybody stepping up. We know Joker's going to a walking triple double. We know he's going to do what he does. But I've been really impressed with Jamal Murray. Just coming back from an ACL injury. I know he's had a whole year to play and get his feet wet, but he's really stepped it up to me that last series and kind of took it over and put a lot on his shoulders to help Joker out and make sure they got past the Lakers. So it's definitely gonna be a tough matchup for them. But if you look at, I think the two teams balance out pretty well as far as on paper. And I think the biggest factor is who's going to be hitting these shots and who's going to be able to get that first stop or that last stop. And I think that's going to be the biggest difference in the game, in the series. Oh, that's crazy. Me and my good friend Dave was talking about that earlier, how to stop the Joker. And I don't think you can. Nobody's been able to do it yet. You just got to figure out how to control everybody else. And the thing with Joker is he's not a selfish player. So you can't force him to take shots. You can't force him to pass. That's just his game. He's just going to play the game at his pace. He sees the floor very well. He's very patient. So with the Miami Heat defense, they're one of the best defensive teams out there. They like to get into your chest and cause problems and be physical with you. So it's just going to be a tale of who's going to be able to make the most in-game adjustments, I think. I think on paper, like I said, they evenly match up. They're two pretty good teams. It's going to come down to adjustments and who wants it more, I think. I don't think they have to do much. I think it's just figure out the game plan. Like I said, with Denver, you got a two-headed monster in Jamal Murray and Joker. With Miami, you got a two-headed monster in Bam and Jimmy. So I would like to see Jimmy take the challenge of guard Jamal Murray the whole series. That's what I would do. To see, give him a different look, different size on him, different physicality. But then you got to worry about wearing Jimmy out for the offensive end. So, like I said, it's gonna be tough. You got to think about the adjustments. But I would definitely send a message early and I'll put Jimmy on Jamal Murray. Everybody, everybody comes to the game got to guard Joker. So we're gonna start with Bam, of course. Definitely some Kevin Love. You just gotta give him different looks and different options. I think the best thing to do is put Joker in a position where he has to either score or strictly run the offense. I think you can't allow him to do both. And I know that's easier said than done, but if you can figure out how to do that, I think it might make the chances a little bit easier. There's two things why I think Joker doesn't get the respect that he deserves, and I really don't want to say the respect because he was the two-time MVP before JoJo took it. So I would say for him, the two things that lack is jumping ability and speed. Like if you look at all the top players in the league, they either jump really high or they're really, really fast. And with Joker, he's neither one, but he's a walking triple double no matter where he's at or what you do. So I just think his style of play, he's not this era's style of play, flashy, energetic, jump over the rim guy like that. So that doesn't give him the top popularity like somebody else would get. That's a high flyer. I think he's going to be very big just because Spo's been there before. And not just once, not just twice, but multiple times. He's been successful in the finals. He's been unsuccessful in the finals. And, with Spo, he doesn't like letting people get the best of him. So I know right now he's in his hotel room drawing up one of the biggest game plans ever and trying to figure some stuff out. So I definitely think Spo's going to be big in this series, and we're going to see why Coach Spo deserves to be one of these coaches of the year one of these upcoming years because he's a hell of a coach. That is a very tough one because I look at it like this. Denver's had 9 days off, and I know they're hungry, but their rhythm might be a little bit off. But for them, this to be their first trip to the finals, the crowd's going to be into it. Denver's crowd is one of the best out there. They love their home team. They love their city. They love basketball. So if the Heat, I say this, if the Heat can withstand that first punch from Denver, they can win that game. They can win game one. But if they can't take that first punch and they're tired from Boston and being drained from that series, then it could be a Denver game. So it's still up in the air. I don't necessarily want to pick right now because I want to wait a little bit closer to like the day before the game and I can hear all the stories and see what's all going on and hear the interviews and stuff like that. But my gut feeling, I think Miami gets game one. For me, I'm Heat Nation. I hardly ever root against the Heat, but It's going to be a tough one. I think Denver might get this one 4-3. I definitely think it's going 6 or 7 games. So with Denver having that home court advantage, if it goes to game 7, I think Denver could win 4-3. But the way Miami just put it on Boston at home, you really never know. So I'm gonna say 4-3. I think that'd be the series. I'm not gonna say who's winning the series, but I definitely think it's gonna be 4-3. Miami, Jimmy, of course. Denver is gonna be between Joker or Jamal Murray, but I think Joker. I think Joker gets this Finals MVP. Michael Porter Jr. for sure. That's one of my sleepers in this series. If he has a really good series, it could be a big problem for Miami. And for the Heat, I say Caleb Martin because he's going to have to take the defensive challenge on Jamal Murray, KCP, Christian Braun. Like he's going to be the guy that has to match everybody on Denver's energy. And that's the thing about Denver's second unit. They're Bruce Brown, energy guy, KCP, energy guy, Christian Braun, energy guy. So with the Heat, they're going to have to need somebody to match that energy on the defensive end. I think that's going to be big for Caleb Martin. Life changing. I mean, once you make it to the NBA, you're on the NBA team. You're one of your favorite players in D Wade, and then you get to be a starting point guard, and you get to add 2 more Hall of Famers in Chris Bosh and LeBron James. So it's kind of like, as a point guard, it's a dream come true. Just made my job a lot easier. That's one thing about Spo. With that series, I think it was a lot of people's first time being in that situation. Spo as a head coach. Of course, Bron and them been there before. D Wade was the only one that won a championship, so it was more of a learning experience for everybody. And learning how to deal with that loss made everybody hungrier. So it was Spo that kind of put the bug in our ear, like, if we're going to do this, we really need to do this. But at the same time, being around that group of guys, they all took that personal, and everybody went that summer and worked on their individual selves and how to better themselves. And then they figured out how to make it better for the team. And Spo did a good job of allowing everybody to be in a position that they were comfortable in and spreading the floor and giving us that option to play freely. So it was a combination of everything, but Spo definitely changed the offense and made us more of a moving unit and made more pieces involved in the offense. I think it contributed a lot. Having that taste of defeat, in our mouths from that Dallas series, we was very hungry. And, coming into that series, we knew exactly what it took to beat OKC, and we knew what it took to win that series. And we was able to stick to the game plan after game 1 and just go from there. It's funny for me because, like, it was a dream come true, but at the same time, I was hungry for more. Like, I was ready for the next one. I was ready to start the next season right then and there and go get that second one and be able to keep going, and keep going. So my mindset after the first one was, yeah, just keep going. I wasn't satisfied with that. Like, yeah, we just won a championship, but it just felt like we were supposed to win that. Like, I want something different. And that next season was definitely something different than that championship. So the saying is, it takes a little luck to win every championship. And, our luck was Ray Allen hitting that 3 and, Kawhi missing a couple free throws that put us in a position to hit the 3. So, I mean, that's what I do remember. And I remember that game 6. Like I tell all my friends, all my fans, that game 6 is probably the hardest basketball game I've ever had to play. As far as like emotions, just being in the moment, seeing everything going on and still be there to be able to perform. And, all that we did in that game 6, we still needed some luck to help us win that game and go to game 7. So that's what I definitely remember, was just how hard that game was, how hard we had to play, how emotional it was, and just everything that comes with a basketball game and trying to win a championship. Everything was left on that line in game 6. Very proud. Like you said, that was my moment. Even being on the team with those guys and all those Hall of Fame guys, you still have moments where you was like, Mario Chalmers held his own. Like, Mario Chalmers did his thing. And for me, to be able to say that I held my own playing alongside Hall of Famers, it just shows that, I was a pretty good player. I did what I did, and I did what I had to do for us to win. The thing about me is I don't mind sacrificing my game to make sure that we win or help somebody else win. And I think that's one of the things that he always loved about me and respected about me. And, it kind of wanted them to bring me to Miami because I was that type of player. So um, just seeing all the sacrifices and all the efforts paid off in 2 championships and a 9-year NBA career, it's a dream come true for me. A more willing passer. I know that's going to sound weird, but just being in those moments back then, it was more for me. I like taking the last shot. I love being in that moment to be able to take the last shot and it's my pride and joy. I hit one in college, hit a couple in the NBA, so I always love and live for those big moments. And having a player like that on my team, he lives for those big moments too. And back then he was taking all the big moments, and now you see he's more willing to drive and kick it out to a corner three for Dennis Schroeder or throwback three for Danny Green up a 3-1 situation. He wouldn't have did that back then. So it just shows like he's grown more into trusting his teammates and just being more of a team player. Not saying that he never was, but he knows that the players around him can help him more now, and he's more willing to use the players around him. Definitely. So when I said that, I wasn't saying like players don't fear LeBron. I'm saying when you come into a basketball game, you have that matchup. We know everything about Bron. Like when Bron came into the league, he was the number 1 pick. We grew up watching Bron. Bron's always been a social media influencer. Like everything about him has always been portrayed to the media and for us to see. So when you know that at the end of the day, he's a nice guy, he's a walking triple double, you're not a fear him. He's not coming to take your head off like they say about Jordan. Like there's stories about Jordan, like don't talk mess to Jordan because he will bite your head off and give you 60. You don't hear stories about that about LeBron. And not saying that he can't. I've heard plenty of players be like, man, going against Bron, that was probably my toughest matchup ever. And it's like, yeah, after the fact. But going into the matchup, you wasn't scared of him because you know everything about him. Like, when Bron left Cleveland, he was hated by everybody. Everybody made it a point to talk about what he couldn't do. Not what he can do, but what he couldn't do. They nitpicked at everything. So once you know different things like that about a player, you don't fear that player. You try to attack the negative things that people are saying. And when Bron heard those negative things, he was in the gym. I was in the gym with him that summer, and he's working on the negative things that they say he can't do. So now when you're matching up against Bron and you're thinking that he can't do these things that other players or other media is saying, but a person like me's been in the gym with him the whole summer and seen the things that he's been working on, yes, you're going to be scared afterwards because you know what he's done in the gym is coming into light. He's going to show you everything he's done. So that's what I kind of meant by that comment. It wasn't a shot. It wasn't anything like that. People saying like, you're his teammate. How could you talk trash about him? Like, I'm not talking trash. I feel like Bron is the greatest basketball player to ever play this game, but he's just not my GOAT. And that's a whole different subject. That's a personal subject. It's not because I don't like him. I love Bron to death, but it's just me for my GOAT. I want my GOAT to live and die on a shot. And with Jordan, with Kobe, they're taking that last shot every time. Me, I want to take the shot the last time. Bron's going to make the right basketball play. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing bad about that. It's just a personal opinion. It's just not what I want my GOAT to do. I want my GOAT to shoot it, no matter if I'm on the team or not. So that's just me. That's just my personal opinion. So, like I said, there was nothing malicious about that comment, not a shot at Bron at all. Like I said, I love Bron to death. Still one of my good friends to this day. And it's just what it is when it comes to basketball. I'm going to speak my truth about basketball. I might actually do remember what I said. I've told people, it's not that I didn't call him a bitch. I said stop playing like a bitch. And everybody knows that word can be derogatory. It can get people going. So I was using that as a motivational, talking to the whole team and not singling anybody out. Like if you see me in the huddle, I'm talking to him, D-Wade, CB, myself, and whoever's in the game. It's just he took it personal. And where I'm from, there's guys like that walking around all the time. That's 6'8", 240, 260. And, we had some rumblings with them guys. Sometimes it's on the basketball court, different things. So it's not a factor about me being scared of him or me being a mean person. It's about motivating my team. And the way I know how to motivate my team is to get under your skin. And they don't know it's not malicious, but they know It's coming from a place of love and a place where I want to win and we want to win. The biggest storylines I'm waiting to see, I want to see with what's going to happen with Kyrie Irving, and I'm curious to see how Bron's going to come back next year after what he just tweeted and all the stuff that's going on, all the little talkings. I don't think he's nowhere close to retiring. I don't think so. I think he has a lot left in the tank, but at a certain point, as a basketball player, as a man, you reach your breaking point about certain stuff. So I'm curious to see where he's at with it. Is his love for the game still there, or is the continuity of him being beat down and being negative stories kind of getting to his head? So it's kind of see. I want to see his bounce back. I want to see what he's going to do. Shoo. Tyler Hero won't be ready for game 3. So that's my first pick is Tyler Hero, but I think the go-to guy could be Kyle Lowry. I think he'll be the go-to guy as far as making plays. I'm not talking about scoring wise. I'm talking about making plays and running the offense. Just because he's been there before, he won a championship with Toronto. He has the smarts, the vetness. He has all the tools to get him over the edge as a playmaking, helpful point guard, backup point guard. Houston, they say they get James Harden back with the young guns they got and the high flyers they got. They're going to be an exciting team to watch. I don't know how many wins they'll produce, but they'll be definitely an exciting team to watch. Okay, the Aaron Fox for sure, and I might say Tyrese Halliburton from the Pacers. I might say Tyrese. I like his game. I like how he finished the season. I like his confidence. I like I like he's there. I'm very curious to see what the Suns are going to. I think that is the sleeper out there just because on paper, I think they got the better team and the better pieces when they're all healthy and put together. It all depends what CP does and how CP is going to bounce back. But I'm very curious to see what the Suns are going to do. And the Clippers. And the Clippers with Westbrook. And I want to see what happens with them.